Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Review for You, and today I want to share my experience with you of installing the SSD 250GB from Samsung. The model which I'm having right now is 850 and the form factor is mSATA. I'm gonna be installing this on my DELL 8500. This is a computer system, desktop system from 2012 I'm having. So just for a little information, so far it's been running really good for me and still running very good. It features third generation Intel Core i7, 12GB of RAM memory, 1TB hard drive, which is the only thing so far that slows down the system. You can see it's mounted over here. And I think it features like a GeForce GT640 video card, which is fine. I think it has like a 1 or 2 gigabytes of video memory, which is perfect for me because I'm not a gamer. Definitely it does help for heavy application like for video editing or picture editing. So but the only thing that slows down the system is the hard drive. Those random access readings can really slow down to the point that right now I'm gonna try to show it in a video later. The Windows 8.1, it takes about 7 minutes to load up completely. The way I'm benchmarking this is I open during the boot up. When it loads the Windows, I'm opening the task manager, and from there I see if it's still actively reading from the hard drive. So for me, the complete loading is when the diagram there drops completely down, so there's no active reading. So this is for me is complete booting. So I'm not really measuring like some other people as soon the clock on the cursor disappears. So let's see. Alright, and this is how looks the box. Here I have a few stickers which I'll be cutting right now. A few ceilings. What I expect to see inside the SSD drive itself. Unfortunately, Samsung does not provide the mounting screws. You can see I have 2 of them over there, and you can do the same as I did. I found old laptops at my house. First I actually unmount from the internal wireless card, which is mounted over there, if you can see it. It used the same screws just to have to compare to something. So then I found in our garage like a 10 years old laptop from Dell and tried few of the screws, and one of the middle on the bottom of the middle of the laptop came out to be exactly the one I'm needing. So this is how I get my free screws. Otherwise, Samsung for some reason doesn't provide them. They're assuming that people will be replacing SSD drive maybe, but surely maybe they didn't do their research very well, because I do think the most people who buying SSD is to actually put first time SSD drive in their computer, sort of replacing or adding the SSD as boot drive, and which is going to be the case with me. I'll be leaving my hard drive is has 2 partitions. The one back in the time I divided, I was assuming I might be having a 250GB SSD one day. So the boot drive, logical drive is 250GB, and the rest is data storage, all kind of files. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be transferring to this SSD all the system and make it boot drive. Hopefully it works smoothly this way. And what I'm planning, I'm gonna leave that partition exactly the way it is on my 1TB drive, because I heard the reliability of the SSD drives are not the best. So this is gonna be my backup plan, and maybe with the time I will copy the partition from the SSD to my traditional hard drive where was my current system located, which is going to be the old one. So to kind of refresh this kind of copy backup of my system. So in case the SSD fails for some reason, all I have to do is to go, restart, go in BIOS, and change the boot device to my traditional hard drive, so I'll still be able to use my computer this way with all the software there. So without any additional talking, let's get this thing open. All right, first I see here a little ceiling. Okay, cut. Actually, maybe I don't need to cut anymore. Let's see. All right, it opens this way, and nothing exciting inside, I think so. It's just a plastic box. I hope I don't have to cut this thing. Okay. All right, wow, it's so funny. It's really so small. Actually, the most of the package is your user manual. Yeah. Which I might don't need. I guess if you're watching this video, like me, you already done a lot of research on SSD drives. To share with you, initially I was going for Crucial AMEX 200 because it was the only one company who was still offering, like year ago, MLC multi-layer cell. But what happened, then it disappeared from market, from everywhere, from Amazon. I was kind of debating just a year ago around Black Friday to buy it or not to buy it, and then the drive just disappeared from all retailers. And what happened, now it's offer in some ridiculous prices. So let me mount this little thing. It's really so little. You see, if I compare to this small knife, it's exactly the same length. Alright, first you need to find the so why first I chose the mSATA version, because this motherboard that comes with a DELL XPS8500, it has, if you can see, I have 2 more available SATA channels, but what I've read, actually only one supports 6 gigabit speed, and this is the one that my current hard drive is connected, which I want to keep in my system. Now if you connect, so either if I wanted to go a traditional case and buy a bracket and buy, the 2.5 inches SSD, I would have to choose between either my traditional hard drive, which is my data storage, it has huge files, to put it to downgrade it to 3 gigabit speed, SATA speed, or which is it's pointless to put your SSD on 3 gigabit, which is doesn't have any sense. So this is why I read that the mSATA slot, mSATA 1, shows there on the motherboard. I don't know if you can see on the camera, you can see it over there. It supports 6 gigabits. So alright, well, I decide, since I'm making video, I might have to unplug a few cables to clean up a little bit the view field. By the way, before you start all this procedure, make sure that, well, you clean your desktop inside, and there is always, like on the motherboard, a LED light once you unplug the AC cord, which will tell you if there's still electricity running. So for my case, I have this screwdriver, and I got this magnet kind of screw metal part catcher, which I'm not gonna use it directly there. All my purpose is to touch a little bit and magnetize the tip of my screwdriver, so this way it can hold for a little bit the screw till I screw it in place. So alright, so I had to do some rearrangement because actually it's the first time I'm dealing with mSATA slot, so it's a good idea to have your computer, your desktop laying down, so your motherboard is laid down flat like this. So this way, once you put, you know, correctly the SSD drive, oh, you see now it completely different way stays, and it kind of a little bit spring loaded. So once you put it this way, at least you don't have to worry about it falling it off like I tried in my previous attempt. So now I only can hope that the screwdriver is magnetized enough, you know, to hold the screw, because it's a tiny screw. I don't really want to drop it over there. So hopefully it stays. Well, hopefully I'm screwing on something. I hope you can see well enough. Actually, it's tightening on. Yeah, we have it's a good thing. Well, one more screw to go. Just checking if it's gonna stay there. Honestly, I haven't dealing in the past 10 years so much with computers. Like I would say 15 years ago, I would do a lot of assembling, deassembling, and you know, taking off RAM memory, hard drives, video, you know, PCI slots, whatever. But this mSATA is kind of new for me thing, and you know, honestly, it's really, it takes some nerves. So when you getting ready to mount this little baby on your computer, just be ready to, you know, to be more patient. Now putting back the, I guess this is the power. Oh, this is the USB actually. This is the USB cord for, and it has a lot of pins, so you have to be kind of really careful not to screw up anything. Okay, just go nice and let it. Now the orange cable was, I think this is the one that go to my DVD drive, which I probably use 3 times since I have the computer. It's 2017. I don't think anybody use anymore DVD writer burner. Some people do use. Anyway, here it's plugged back. The 2 screws are there, everything in place. Now what's next? I'll be plugging the cord and starting up the computer, and we'll see what's gonna happen. Alright, and before we start it, now I'm gonna plug the AC cord back in the power supply. And just keep in mind, if you're not familiar with what you're doing, do it on your own risk. I'm not taking any responsibility. So keep in mind, once you plug the AC cord, you can see it spin the fans for a little bit. That shows there's a power now. I mean the main board is power it. That's mean no more touching there. I don't know if you can see through the cables. Let me turn off the light. You probably see that yellow light over there lighting up. That means there's a power to a circuit board. Now what I'm gonna do next, well, I even here prepare a little timer. Actually, I might just set up my timer over here to be visible. Well, the first thing, I'm gonna power the machine, but what I'm gonna be doing, I'm gonna go straight to BIOS and see if the drive is recognized correctly. Let's see. Alright, and here are the BIOS, and let's see where it was. Alright, actually you can see my BIOS date is from August 28, 2013. I do believe I checked recently they don't have any other updates for this motherboard. So all you have to do in the main menu, I'm going all the way down. Oops, we skipped it. And let me just dip a little bit the camera. So it says SATA information, and here it says SATA 0 port. This my traditional hard drive, 1 terabyte. Then the DVD drive, here's 0%, those are empty. And here it says mSATA 1 port 1 Samsung SSD 850 EVO 250 gigabytes. Well, so far so good. Now I think we're just gonna be exiting. Alright, and what's next? I have here timer setup. Just to show you for one last time, I never actually clocked completely, but what I'm gonna do now, okay, you go here to exit, save changes and reset. I guess yes. Okay, I'm assuming now after I hit yes, it will restart the system. 3, 2, 1, and go. So let's see, hopefully the camera battery will not die. So the first menu goes quickly through, that's fine. Alright, a pretty quick load. It's keep loading, so typing the password doesn't really slow down. Alright, you might notice a little jump in the time. It's because we're nearing almost the 5th minute. As you see, the my 1 terabyte Western Digital traditional hard drive utilization is never dropped below 100%. It's still loading, it's still the same restart. It kind even today felt a little bit faster than this, but always slow it down. You can see those random reads and writes it does putting Windows 8.1, which really slows down the whole loading process. It takes forever. It's now with 5 minutes and a half pass, and still the hard drive utilization didn't drop for any second, any small moment below 100%. And the jump in the time I was telling you is due the camera battery died, so I had to put a new battery and put the other one to charge. Hopefully by the time the Windows loads, I'm gonna still have battery. I'm joking, of course. I hope it's not gonna take that long, and I hope my battery actually on my Nikon camera can hold that long. So let's see what's happening. Alright, now while it's loading, I'm gonna put a little bit camera away, and you still see in the left corner is still loading. And I'm gonna try to zoom out actually. Now what is the purpose? Well, you can still see the timer is running on here, part of the screen, if you can still see. I'm just gonna, I have this infrared temperature meter, so I'm gonna point it directly to the SSD and see what temperature it reads. Okay, it got a little bit hot now, even though it's supposed not to do any work right now. It reads 91 Fahrenheit. Here it has like a laser beam, so for example we can compare with a, well, this is not, well, let's point it to the power supply, and nothing is hot yet in the computer, but these things will change definitely. Well, here we go, a little drop, maybe the end is near. All right, I think 11 minutes 20 seconds, that's it. 11 minutes and 20 seconds to load completely Windows. All right, next thing you want to do is go to support, choose from there, you know, other products, memory and storage, solid state drive, and find your model. It was a little bit confusing in the beginning because it says, you know, SATA 3, then mSATA, and it says from 120 gigabyte to 1 terabyte mSATA models. So there you go on menus and downloads, which is just scroll down. So this is the software they offer you. It's 37 megabytes. And all right, supposed to be the migration software. Well, actually I went to tools and software, so from there I download Magician software, the data migration software, which come into zip file, but there it says it's 3.1 version. You can see over here, whatever is the current version at the time you're doing this procedure. I download the firmware for the 850 EVO series and the driver. So although I'm sure Windows supposed to recognize, and it didn't recognize the drive, but let's see. So let's start first with the driver. Alright, now let's go ahead and install the Samsung data migration setup software. Alright, this is how it's supposed to look like. Samsung Data Migration can migrate your iOS and data from your existing storage device to your new Samsung SSD. Alright, that sounds good. Alright, this is the next step, and now let's see. It doesn't offer me from which partition, so it says source disk and target disk, and here it tells me, you know, shows me the two partitions I have on my current traditional hard drive, and this was gonna copy, and how much I guess will be the capacity. And so let's hope it's gonna copy the partition C. This is what it shows in the image here. So let's start this. Alright, so I left the computer for a little bit and I came back like in 5 minutes. I see already as advancing at 15%. I guess creating boot sectors or whatever in the beginning takes a little bit longer. Now the speeds of copying is like what the Samsung data migration software says is around 78 to 80 megabytes per second. What I'm seeing readings from Task Manager, the hard drive, the traditional hard drive reading speed right now is above 120, sometimes drops to 100 or 90 megabytes per second. So we'll see how long it takes. So far it's about 7 minutes copying, cloning. Alright, and now I'm back, and unfortunately I was thinking, to leave a recording, but I thought it's gonna be a unnecessarily huge file. So what I did essentially, I left the computer to clone, and now it's finished. Says the data on the source disk has been successfully cloned to your Samsung SSD, which is good, but doesn't show me what was the time that the whole operation was completed for, and I'm assuming was whatever was 20 minutes. So saying this, now from here, our next step is to restart and go in BIOS and change the boot order. Okay, hard disk drives, first boot device, Windows Boot Manager, second boot device, Samsung. So let's go on the first boot device and put Samsung. I leave it like this. Alright, now I'm assuming now I will be doing the first boot on the SSD. I'm gonna put this hardware stopwatch, which is actually my iPhone. I'm gonna put it there. Alright, go to exit. If I done everything right, it should be booting from the SSD. Alright, finally I'm back. So just to let you know what happened, I can spend 2 hours to figure out why even the SSD was cloned. Everything seems to work properly. I changed in the BIOS the boot order, but it was still loading from the old hard drive for some reason. So I don't know if I did it the correct way, but at the end it worked. So the first thing, well, you can see here some magic numbers. This is with the rapid mode on, and also they recommend in performance optimization over provisioning they recommend 10%. It's kind of unallocated space, and they here kind of explain over provisioning. Optimize the performance and lifespan of your SSD by setting aside extra free space on the SSD. So I guess it's act like a cache partition or something like this. I'm not sure. However, well, now my main partition even dropped to 208 gigabytes, and the marketing size of the drive is 250 gigabytes. So formatted was 233, and after this over provisioning is a little bit over 200 gigabytes. However, now let me tell you how I fixed this little problem with the loading. So the first thing, I did. I disconnect the old drive, and this is when I actually witnessed it first time loading from the SSD. But and everything just went perfect. No errors, nothing. However, I do want my old hard drive connected, and I do want my original partition on the old hard drive to be to be available in case the SSD fails. So I have just to switch the boot order or something like this. So I tried a few times. I ended up actually switching the SATA connector from the blue port, which I'm assuming is for 6 gigabytes. From 6 gigabit connection to one of the other connectors, which are assigned for 3 gigabit only data rate. So, however, the traditional hard drive is even not that fast, so you're not gonna be slowing down your older hard drive this way. So what I did, I went in computer management and opened disk management. So from there, disk 0 was my SSD and disk 1 was my older hard drive. This when I had my older hard drive reconnected to 3 gigabit port. So from there was with the unfortunately I cannot show you now, but was with a check mark, like basically was unmounted. So I had to right click and select go online, and it was saying because there could be conflict and blah blah blah. I'm assuming because due to the duplicated partitions, because this one had OS label with the letter C, and this one OS label was also with the letter C. So what the disk management allows, the first thing I did, I put my hard drive online, the older hard drive. I mainly noticed it went on by the sound. You can mistaken this sound. Then the first thing, because it changed the letters of my partition, so I have data storage on D. Well, that's why it's called data. This is where I keep all my files, documents, videos, pictures, and so. So this one was changed to another drive, so the software wouldn't recognize it, whatever software I'm using, because it would change the path. So I changed this backup to letter Z, so this way I know this is the backup partition, the original one from which I cloned to SSD. And of course I went back and I changed the data label, to be again with a letter D. So I restart a few times and was fine. Then I just decide to experiment and see what's gonna happen. I shut down the computer, of course, unplug the AC cord and wait for the yellow LED light on the main board to go off. So I reconnect back on the original hard drive, the traditional hard drive, to the blue port, which is for the 6 gigabit. And I start the system, and for my good surprise, actually it did load, it did boot from the SSD. However, when I and just everything runs normal. However, when I open the disk management, I noticed it just swiped the places. Now the older hard drive is again disk 0, and disk 1 is the SSD itself. And you see now over here is 23.29 gigabytes unallocated space. This is the over provisioning I just did. So this is what it does. And it's interesting that actually on SSD is copied the original recovery partition and I believe some diagnostic tools partition. So this is it. Now I just finally can demonstrate how fast is it. And for this reason, actually, I'm planning to shut down the computer and I'm gonna start it over, and so this way I can demonstrate you. Oh, actually I'm gonna do something else, because for traditional hard drive is not so good, those cycles on and off, even though I do it every time when I put the computer to sleep. So okay, let's close the disk management. I really wanna show you one more time. I'm gonna do, actually I was surprised with the rapid mode. It come to those magic numbers here. This pretty much tells me something like close to 4 gigabytes read speeds in rapid mode and 3 gigabytes write speeds. The input output operation also, the IOPS jump way higher than is the specifics. Maybe the write are a little bit lower, but let's do one more just for you, so I have it in the video too. It definitely goes much faster than without the rapid mode, the benchmark test itself. So let's see what numbers will show me now. Alright, so kind of similar, a little bit lower, maybe because something going on the operating system right now. So this is it. Now alright, now what I'm gonna do, the traditional boot up test, and make sure my hardware stopwatch is there. So let's close this. I like to call the Alt F4 keyboard shortcut for. Okay, now I'm gonna just choose restart, and I'm gonna start the stopwatch when the Dell logo appears on the screen, and this is gonna give you an idea how fast actually shutdowns. Alright, now it's restarting, so basically the fans are going higher. I started the stopwatch a little bit earlier because this when the fans, hopefully you can hear, they sped up. So I'm assuming the first thing you're gonna notice actually is that the traditional sound of the hard drive, of the traditional hard drive, is not anymore presented. You still gonna hear a little bit of it because it's kind of like additional drive. So actually I stopped paying attention. So as you see, this is the Samsung right now, and this is my Western Digital. Doesn't read anything from there. Obviously everything loads from the SSD. And as I told you in the beginning, my way, okay, so this I believe is about minute and 10 seconds full load till the moment where actually there's no any more read-write operations and there's no more activity on the loading SSD. So you see this is literally like 10 times faster, if not more. In the beginning of the video you saw it took almost 10 minutes from, you know, hard reset, like from full start of the desktop computer system loading Windows 8.1, which basically... Alright guys, so thank you for watching. That's all from me today. Subscribe my channel, review for you, and I'll make sure to post some useful videos in future for you. Bye bye.